one of the things that we've discussed on this show, we've even had like a what is your kind of go-to football experience you'd love to experience, like whether it's a stadium atmosphere, a tailgate experience. And what we always go back to is Penn State and whiteout games and the atmosphere that's there because it's pretty much unlike anything else. College football atmospheres get crazy. But I feel like we can always just go back to like videos we've seen of whiteout experience and just get chills down our spine. And we're like, man, I cannot imagine being there. Can you speak a little bit to what that atmosphere is like and how much it does to a team, and maybe an away team trying to
Yeah.
go in there and go up against that?
It's Urban Meyer, who I've gotten to be very, very good friends with over the
Mhm.
years. Urban Meyer, said to me one time, he said, it's 7 points. It gives Penn State a 7 point advantage. He said, I coach in the SEC. I was at LSU at night. I've been in the swamp at night. I've been all those places at night. He said, it is the toughest place to take a team in and play. And he said that publicly, not just to me. And I think it really comes down to this. When so the roots of the whiteout, we had done one in 2004 and we weren't having a great year and we ended up losing. So anyway, so at the end of the day, the next year we're coming off a bad year. Ohio State's coming. We played. We were I think 3-0 or 4-0. Minnesota comes in. They were undefeated. They're 16 and I think they were
Mhm.
15th in the country. We weren't even ranked yet, and we just beat the snot out of them. Sunday night, I'm driving home from meetings and film and everything. It's close to midnight, and so I'm driving around the corner, and I'm driving around the stadium, and I look, and there's tents there, and I
Okay.
go, okay, why are there tents there? And then I go, oh my God, these students are camping out to be in the front row for Saturday. It's
Wow.
Sunday.
A week before.
So this guy Guido DeLeo, who I mentioned earlier, I called him. I go, Guido, you because he did stadium operations, branding, all kinds of stuff. He
Mhm.
said, you are never going to believe what I just. He goes, where are you? I said, I'm literally sitting at the intersection across from the student section. They're already camping out here. It's Sunday night. He goes, wait for next week. I go, yeah. So he called. He knows how risk management people work at universities.
Yeah.
If they see it, they'll come in. Oh, you guys have to move. So he calls a bunch of media people. So by
Mhm.
Monday morning at 8 a.m., 9 a.m., it's all over the internet. The students are camping out. So students see it, and it becomes like this, like the California gold rush. Students are running
Mhm.
out to Dick's Sporting Goods and they're buying tents. And by Monday afternoon, there's hundreds and hundreds of students camping out. And that was a whiteout in the student section only. And
Mhm.
so that night we play Ohio State in one of the great games ever played in Beaver Stadium, and we win. But during the course of that game, the place just, I mean, nobody sat down because the game was always a one-score game. It was always in doubt.
Mhm.
And it got really loud. The people from ESPN for the first time couldn't hear each other through their headsets, trying to communicate
Oh
from
man.
cameraman to cameraman. And it was the highest rated college football game at the time ESPN had done. So it just
Wow.
took off. People started watching, like, what the hell is going on there? So in the off season, Guido, who I mentioned, said, how do we top it? We're kicking it around. And he goes, you know what? We'll go the whole stadium way out. Now, he said, we're not doing it this year because he said, I want to give it a year to build up. So a year and a half later, we were hosting Notre Dame in week 2, I think. And he said, when we send out the season tickets next year, there will be a card. You're invited to the White House. Everybody wear white versus Notre Dame. So people are like, what is this? So, we didn't know exactly how it was going to go down.
Mhm.
And we played Notre Dame, we beat them, and it just came across on television. It just blew up people's televisions. Like, oh my God, because everywhere you looked. So it took on this otherworldly thing. And then the
Mhm.
next year, Illinois came in, they were ranked, and we beat them. I mean, just it took on this, we had some great wins in the whiteout games. So it just took on this thing. And one of the things it did is when you put all the students and all the fans in what is essentially a uniform. I'm
Yeah.
wearing white. I can have an impact on the game. They now know my role is to be as loud as I possibly can. And it became this motivating factor. So it really is something very, very unique. Visually, it's unbelievable. When you're standing on the field and you look around and go, oh my God. Now, that said, I think the team that I saw handle it the best of anybody was Oregon last year. They did
Okay.
this whole video about, leading up to it, and they talked about how they were going to handle it, and they really embraced it. I was on the field when they came out of tunnel, and Dante Moore came out, and he was like locked in. And Dan Lanning, their team's run out of the field, and everybody tries to be hard, like,
Yeah.
oh, this isn't going to intimidate me, and I'm got my game face on. He took about 4 steps running on the field with the team for right before kickoff, and even he looked up and he got this like smile on his face. I went, oh crap. God damn it. And, we had a chance to win the thing and didn't, but I mean, like, they really handled it really, really well. But it really is something. It's quite an environment.
That's an unreal story. And Oregon's going to be another tough team this year. And Dante Moore sticking around there. Dan Lanning's an incredible coach. And that game last year, that's a tough one. And I'm sure as soon as you saw him locked in, that's really tough. And you mentioned your fan relation stadium guy. His name was Guido.
Yeah, Guido D'Elia.
That's got to be a prerequisite for that position because that guy knows how to party. I'm sure.
Oh.
It's a great name.
Let me put it this way. I'm not going to tell any tales. I think Guido's probably 70 in his early 70s now.
Okay, yeah.
So he lived through the 1970s and 80s. So I'm sure he saw some stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, the guy was just brilliant. I mean, he just knew all the buttons to push, all the levers to push. I mean, when you hear, you're watching all these FIFA matches and you hear that Seven Nation Army song, he was the first guy who really started playing that in stadiums in the United States.
Wow.
It was that Zombie Nation. He was the guy that found that song and created, and it all came out of those White House people. Like, what is that song they're singing? And now it's this Mo Bamba song that they play.
Yep.
And which, that one I don't like as much, but it's still pretty cool.